So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about this week with podcasting. No.
Okay, you can't text in podcast.
I'm texting Dupree.
I know, I don't remember what we were talking about.
We're going back to space. We just finished
Space
up talking
camp.
about space camp.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I just, yeah. Sorry.
So
I got to put my phone down.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have like 5 things going on at once here.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of From Art to Atoms,
The Ultimate Curiosity Show.
I'm Brandon Shoemaker.
I'm Michael Foles. So, how was your week this week, Brandon?
Oh, well, it's been a week. It's been a bit stressful.
How? Why?
Well, I don't know how to see. Okay, here's the thing. Kinsey is so much better at telling this story much more quickly and efficiently than I am. I'm not going to tell the whole story because it takes me about 30 minutes while it takes her about 30 seconds. So, as you already know, I am a theater director and we're in the middle of our UIL
Competition.
one-act play season.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, long story short, we've been planning this whole time working on a one-act version of Mice and Men. And the rights have been denied to us because of, I guess, apparently a big legal battle that's going on with the Steinbeck estate.
Hold on. Would you say they were denied to you when they weren't really given to you to begin with?
Well, no, we applied for. So what you have to do is you submit a cutting to the publisher, and then the publisher submits it to the rights holder, which in this case is an 89-year-old woman named Waverly Scott Gafaga, who is the stepdaughter of John Steinbeck. And then the rights holder, reads the cutting and determines if they are going to, allow you to produce that shortened version of the play or not. And so the performance rights, which is just, the basic pay that you give somebody for performing a piece of their work, that we can get no problem. The problem is they have denied us the right to cut it, which you have to do in order to perform for competition.
Mm-hmm. So moral of the story is make sure you have that first before you start.
Oh, well, that's just it. We submitted it ages ago. They only just got back to us now about 3 weeks ago, I guess it was. So, this has all just come falling on top of us, kind of out of nowhere.
So what does that mean for you guys?
So basically what we have had to do is pivot and choose a different show. So now we are doing a completely different show called Peter and the Starcatcher. And we were thankfully, it was very easy to get cutting rights to that. We were able to get performance rights and cutting rights to that in literally less than a day. So shout out to MTI, because thank you for being very easy for that process. But now we have to essentially put together a whole new show in 2 weeks.
And here we are making a podcast.
I know, like I have the time for it, but we owe it to our listeners to keep on our schedule.
Yeah.
So yeah, the next 2 weeks are going to be very stressful for me. We just had yesterday a 12-hour rehearsal from 10 to 10. The kids were great troopers. They, were there for it and didn't complain at all for the most part. And then we had another rehearsal today for 6 hours. So it's going to be interesting. But then during the week, so UIL has regulations about how many hours you can rehearse during the school week, which is Monday through Thursday. Yeah. And so you can only rehearse up to 8 hours. So we're just doing 2-hour rehearsals each evening. And then Friday night we'll stay for a longer one and then back at it Saturday and Sunday.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
How was your week, Michael? Oh, my week was great.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I'm a bit exhausted and dazed, so I'm not exactly going to be on my A game in this episode. Sorry. How was your week, Michael?
My week was pretty good.
That's all you got?
No, yeah. Look, so we're gearing up for a field trip on Friday of this week. So that's kind of where I guess my focus is. The end of the grading period is this week coming up, and finished up my grades. And as a reward for those that have actually been on target of what they need to actually get taken care of in class, academically and attendance wise and behavior wise, and we had practice state tests so that they do well on that and really just try. And so those kids are being rewarded with a trip. We're taking a field trip to a science museum. So I'm taking 86 kids on Friday, 2 hours north.
Wow. Good luck and Godspeed.
Nah, it'll be a fun trip. We get to see like a Tesla coil show that they have in the planetariums out there.
Oh, I've heard about those.
Yeah, so we're getting to do both of those shows plus admission to the museum.
That sounds really cool. Take lots of pictures and video.
And with the planetarium, I'm looking forward to that because, like this week, I think it was like this past weekend, like yesterday and today, they had the alignment, not really alignment, I guess, but the viewing
conjunction.
Of all, right. The seven planets have been out there. Right.
I know. And I was not able to get out and see it. I think it's still partially.
I was gonna say, I think it's still, you can still probably go out there and see. The part of it is the stuff that's kind of like on the southwest end of the horizon. Like you're not able to, you're not able to see it because of trees and everything like that.
You'd have to be somewhere out in the middle of nowhere with flat land and no trees. But I mean, it has been, I mean, it's so interesting the way it works because some planets line up fairly commonly or quickly.
Right.
And then because like Jupiter and Uranus were really close to each other for a while.
I don't think that this is supposed to happen again as far as them being in this alignment until they're on the other side for like 400 something years.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
For that many of them all together. Yeah.
And so then NASA actually put out a photograph from the James Webb Telescope. So 4 days ago, they got an image of HH30, which reveals a protoplanetary disk in the Taurus molecular cloud, where swirling dust, powerful jets, and cosmic outflows shape the foundations of future planets. It's the birth of a new star.
Ooh.
And that's the picture of it.
Oh my God, we'll have to post this on Facebook. That is amazing. But you know what it looks like automatically to me?
The poster of the Star Trek Nemesis.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah. No, I was thinking a contact lens.
Oh, yeah, no. So the problem is this thing is 450 light years away. So this happened
450 years ago.
Yeah. We're just now seeing it.
Yeah.
But so that is kind of a cool thing, So two things happen with space, like that discovery there, and then also the alignment or the conjunction of all the planetary bodies. So speaking of, I forgot to give you one other thing about my week. I did get cast. You know about this.
Oh, yeah. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So my school is doing we're opening up a brand new performing arts center. And so the theater department's moving into that and super excited about them moving into there. And so they are going to be doing their first show. He wants to do a big show.
Yeah.
So our theater director decided that he wanted to do Shrek the Musical.
And invite all grade levels and faculty.
Right, because he needed a huge cast. He needed, I think he had a faculty and staff, alumni were able to audition, as well as elementary and middle school. Because we're all one campus, so it's really easy to get them involved in over there. And from what I understand, he had over 90 people audition.
Wow.
And when you understand the scope of that compared to the size of my school district.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are a super small school district.
There's going to be nobody left to be in the audience. Everybody's going to be on stage.
So I think he did for this one, he did need a few adult roles.
Yeah.
Which is perfect. So they cast me as King Harold, who I believe is Fiona's dad.
Yeah.
And also some dual cast also as one of the fairy tale people. I am gonna play Peter Pan. And so I've never seen Shrek the Musical, so I'm kind of like looking at my role, like what does Peter do, and he does like a part, I guess, in one of the songs, I guess.
Freak Flag.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and from what I understand, the line is, I guess the story goes that Peter has been banished to the swamp out of Fairy Tale Land or whatever like that, and so he's aging.
Yeah.
Which works out good because I'm older. And one of the lines, I guess, is like, you have a beard or you need to go shave or something like that.
Yeah.
But so in my mind, I'm thinking that Peter not only needs to be older with beard, hair, and look older, he also needs to be like out of shape. So I'm thinking that I'm actually going to have like the tights on, but I think I want to have like part of my belly hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Like it looks like Thor when he got fat.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like Peter Pan like that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think creatively I can even suggest that?
I would wait and see, and I would just ask first. Here's the best way to go about that. Ask first, like, what the director's vision is for your character.
Okay.
And ask about your costume and stuff like that. And if there's it just depends on the director, because like I'm a director who very much welcomes input from my actors and I want to hear their suggestions and ideas,
right?
But then other directors have a completed vision in their mind and they're like, this is what it's going to be,
right
and
I get that. Yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm super duper excited about this. Super duper. And
super duper excited about
it. Because I thought about this too, is that the first, I guess, experience with theater for me was as one of the members of the aerial crew of Peter Pan at your school.
Yeah.
And so to come
before I got there.
Right. And to come full circle with this one now, I get to play Peter Pan at my new school district is super exciting. Super duper.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a nickname for Peter. We were always calling him PP. And I'm like, that's what I want to be. I want them to call me PP in rehearsals. I'm like, y'all need to call me PP. So, but what's really cool too is I do also have, because that was my first show, I'm very sentimental on certain things, and I saved the program from that show.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got rid of, I think it was one of the pieces of Peter's, I guess, vine, the plastic vine or whatever they used
on
for
the
Peter's
costume?
Yeah. And so I saved a piece of that with the program. So I'm going to actually incorporate that into my new costume, just as a kind of, salute to that, I guess.
Nice.
That's stupid.
No. That's great.
Anyway, so this week we're going to be talking about the space race and kind of what led us to the cosmos.
Yeah.
Scientifically and I guess politically.
Yeah. Space has been an area of study that's been fascinating to me and Michael since we were kids, by and large, especially because of things like Star Trek. And
yeah, but I lived in a town that actually had a processing plant near us.
Processing what?
We built the external tanks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, out in New Orleans East at the Michoud plant.
Oh, that's cool.
So I remember second grade taking field trips out there.
Oh, wow.
And seeing them build the external tanks for the space shuttle program.
Oh, that's really cool.
And I think they're actually building a component to the Artemis rocket because of the way it's lined up. They can get everything on a barge and float it right down the Mississippi.
Yeah.
And then right into the Gulf to Kennedy.
Oh.
So the proximity of it being right there off the river, they're able to go ahead and do what they have to do to get parts and stuff like that.
So it's easy for them to take it around Florida to launch.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yep. And so that's one of the reasons why Michoud was part of the facility. And so they did not, and I remember when they retired the shuttle fleets and the shuttles did their little flyovers of each of the parts and stuff, or each of the facilities. Do you remember any of that?
Yeah, they flew over on the 747,
right? Yeah, when they were being delivered to wherever they were going, whatever museums and stuff like that. And I think the one that I saw was Atlantis, but I remember taking off from work to go out there to see it fly over.
Oh wow,
the plant, and so that was really cool. And, New Orleans is not really close in proximity, I guess, 4 hours away from Houston.
Yeah.
So Houston Space Center and stuff like that, Space Station, Houston as they call it now, was always big, for us as kids and stuff like that. Though I've never been to Johnson.
We should go.
That's a trip. That would be a really good trip for a field trip for kids.
It really would. I mean, we just need to go, like us, because
I know.
That would be fun.
So, as a kid, I remember Marcel and I in elementary school, we were lucky enough because, we were in school, elementary, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, that kinder through fifth, and I believe it was third grade. So this is probably 88, 89. And this is after Challenger.
I was about to say, so after the 2-year hiatus after Challenger.
Correct. They had the Young Astronauts program because we were so close in relation to Michoud that they actually did, our elementary school actually did a partnership with them. And so we had a Young Astronauts Club, and we were a part of that. And that's really kind of what spurred, I guess, a lot of my fascination with what was out there and that kind of stuff.
I always wanted to go to space camp when I was a kid.
Why didn't you?
I don't know. I don't know if it was too expensive or what. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I probably just didn't want to be away from home for that long when I was little.
Oh.
But apparently, I mean, it's still a thing, and apparently older kids go too, because one of my students who is this year a sophomore went last summer after her freshman year.
In high school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know that part of the 5th grade, because our local elementary school here is kind of like it's not really a magnet, but it's a science and engineering, or a math, science and engineering school.
A STEM school?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But it's a school for math, science, and engineering, and they test in their advanced math program. So your first graders are doing 2nd grade math and stuff like that. 5th grade is where they kind of they go to 5th grade, because that's 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. Then you go to the middle school.
Yeah.
And so every year the 5th graders go on a trip. Guess where they go?
Oh, really?
They bus them to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama. Yeah.
Oh.
They spend a week out there. That's their culmination trip, I guess.
Oh, that's really cool.
So yeah, we're going to talk about the space race tonight.
Yeah.
And again, what led up to it and why. And I feel like we're going politically back into that whole area right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, it really is.
I mean, not so much the race to see who's the best, or the race for fear of nuclear weapons being attached to space weapons and stuff like that, but I just feel like the geopolitical world is going back to exactly this time period right here.
Yeah.
In the 40s, 50s again. And I feel like we're moving that way. And you know, what happened to the Space Force? Didn't he do a Space Force?
Oh,
in the first term?
Yeah, it's the thing. It's there. They do nothing in space.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So why wasn't that ever brought up? Like, you know, that could be anyway.
Yeah, apparently the Space Force just sits behind computers all day.
Well, with Musk the way he is, you know. But then what, Amazon, Bezos, what is his space?
Blue Origin?
Yeah, they have a flight going up here. They just announced a couple of days ago that, of all people, Katy Perry and you didn't hear about this?
No.
Katy Perry and who is Oprah's girlfriend?
Gayle King?
There you go. Her. She's going up with them, an all-female flight with Bezos, his girlfriend.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. I was like, what in the world? Like, did they pay, or did they try to get on this thing, or was it just, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they probably did, but
no. I know it's the 3 of them.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. I think there's like a crew of 6. I think it's actually like 3 actual, like, trained astronauts. And then 3
celebrities.
Fundraising people.
Fundraising.
Let me see. Blue Origin. I didn't know he even had a company. So.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, his are the ones that look like the rockets in Austin Powers.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, you haven't seen that?
No.
Oh my God, look it up.
Look, it's the New Shepard N something 31. NS-31 crew. Yeah, so it looks like, I don't know who these people are. I mean, I know who Katy Perry is and Gail, whatever her name is. And
yeah. Carrie Ann Flynn. I can't read.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lauren Sanchez. Is that his girlfriend?
The one that looks like a model with the enhanced lips?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amanda Nguyen. Okay. Well, there's that. I don't think I have a comment to that.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Nice work if you can get it.
I thought you knew that was going on. That's how so far down into work you are.
Yeah.
So, all right, space race. So looking at this, you know, it was a 20th century competition between the United States and Soviet Union, and kind of kicked off in the 50s and then finished up at the tail end of the 60s when we finally, I mean, you can say it still continued on through the Cold War and stuff.
Well, so here's the thing, you know, not to sound like, you know, I'm all like, yay, America #1 or anything like that, but
America.
Not to sound like I'm being obtuse or anything like that, but we kind of won the space race when we went to the moon, because no other country has been to the moon, at least physically. They've sent probes and stuff like that, but no other country has landed on the moon.
Right.
A human. So after that, it was kind of like, okay, peace out.
Well, that's what I said. Like the tail end of the 60s, when we finally got there, the race was over at that point. When we first set foot. Because that's really what the race was all about. It was after, I guess, Sputnik went up and the Russians got that.
Yeah.
And the Americans were like freaked out.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's so let's talk about them in
Chronological order.
chronological order. Yeah. So, because here's the thing, really the space race came out, it was during the Cold War, and it was sort of an extension of the nuclear arms race. So we had, after you had the building of the atomic bomb, you had this arms race to, because everyone wanted to make sure they had at least one more than everybody else. And so, essentially going into space was an extension of that, because it meant if they had rockets that could go into space and put these satellites and things like that in orbit, then, the fear and the assumption was that they could also put a nuclear warhead into orbit that could launch from up there and hit pretty much any target.
Right. Well, and so do you know that the origins of this whole thing came out of Nazi Germany? There was a German physicist.
Yeah.
What is his name?
Werner von Braun.
Right. And he developed a rocket, a ballistic missile, basically, that was going to be for that purpose, to bomb the Allies in the war. And between the time of him starting the not production, I guess, but the development of that, they called it the Arrogate 4, I guess the A4. And so, but between that time and them actually getting it off, the war ended. And so the proprietary rights to that were both split between the Americans and the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And so then, like you were saying, so now we have this still communist country, and us have this rocket development. They use it as leverage.
Yeah.
And then use it as the foundation for their own missile development programs.
And Werner von Braun, thankfully, migrated to America and became our lead rocket scientist.
Yeah.
But no, so Sputnik goes up in 1957. And it essentially was just it wasn't even very large, really, certainly not compared to today's satellites, but it was essentially just a big spherical, not big, but a small, I think it's I want to say around the size of a basketball, or maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I heard it was like the size of a beach ball, so about the same
size.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, beach ball's better comparison. And, it had these antennae that stuck off of it that transmitted signals back to Earth, and it was just sort of a beep, beep, beep sound. And then,
well, and that right there, when they did that and it transmitting from space, I remember watching something about the race itself, and they showed the broadcast on television, black and white broadcast, and he's like, the sound you are hearing, are the transmissions coming from Sputnik 1 in orbit around the Earth, and that put a lot of fear into the Americans, because they were like, oh crap, I
still remember. Have you ever seen that movie, The Right Stuff?
Yes.
Okay. I still love that scene in The Right Stuff where, Jeff Goldblum is running down the hallway at, I don't know if it was the Pentagon or where, and he bursts through the door and just says, they're calling it Sputnik.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing, because that really conveys the urgency.
Right. And it was just radio transmissions. It was picked up by amateur radio operators on Earth. They were able to pick that up easily. And it was unanticipated, which I guess was the thing. We were not, as America, we're not expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
And that's really what kind of lit the match.
Yeah.
On the race. That was the gun that started the race.
Yeah. Sputnik started the clock.
Right.
So to speak. So after Sputnik launches, 1 month later, they launched Sputnik 2. Sputnik 2 was the first space vessel to carry a living creature. And that was
the poor monkey.
No, that was Laika, the Russian space dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Laika goes up, and she was...
That's right. We put monkeys in space.
Yeah.
I've been to his grave.
Really?
Yeah, it's in New Mexico.
Oh, wow. The monkey... What was the monkey's name? How bad is that I know Laika, but I don't know the
Hold
monkey?
on. I can find out. I think
Actually,
it's like some... hold on.
You want to know why I know Laika?
Because you had a husky.
No, Laika wasn't a husky. She was well, as it says here on Wikipedia, a stray mongrel. But no, Laika.
Ham was the first monkey.
Ham
the first
was
chimpanzee.
the first monkey?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know Laika because it was referenced once on Designing Women.
Yeah. So Ham for us it was 1961. He flew in January 1961. He experienced weightlessness for about 6.5 minutes, and he was trained at Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico, which is where I've been. They have a plaque and a statue of him out there.
But now but they brought him back, right?
I don't think they did.
I thought you just said you've been to his grave.
Well, that's where the
or is it
memorial?
The memorial?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, what can they have brought back but some ashes? I mean,
well, that's the thing. I didn't know if because they did send some up that they brought back, and they studied. What were the effects?
Yeah, look, Ham lived from 57 to 83.
Oh wow. Okay, he had a nice little retirement.
Look, a little picture of little Ham sitting there.
Yeah, no.
He died in the North Carolina Zoo.
Oh, was he at Asheboro?
Yeah, in 83.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's a great zoo because it's like the free range.
Yeah,
zoo basically.
I'm looking at the zoo's webpage now. I'm wondering if they have other celebrities. They have polar bears.
Do they?
That's
what? They don't have the climate for polar bears.
Well, I mean, they keep.
I guess
they have the zoo is home to one of the largest chimpanzee troops in any zoo in America, as well as the largest collection of Alaskan seabirds.
Oh.
I mean, they have one of the only few AZAs in the U.S. with a breeding pair of polar bears. But as of 2022, the pair have yet to produce any offspring.
Oh, they better get busy.
Maybe it's not the right temperature.
That's what I'm saying.
They like that cold room.
But yeah, so now Laika was never intended to come back, though.
Yeah, that's why they grabbed the stray dog off the street.
I know.
Horrible.
I know. I think that could have been Luca.
Could you imagine him going into space? He'd be sitting in that little chair, having a convulsion.
So along with Of Mice and Men, we did a single public performance of that show before we had to switch gears, and Luca was he did kind of steal the show.
He was only in it for like 5 minutes.
I know, but still, that he stole the attention, let's say.
Because everyone thought he was robotic.
What?
They all thought it was like a fake dog. You're not used to coming on stage and seeing a real dog.
No, they knew it was a real dog.
No, I'm saying that, but they're not used to seeing one.
But yeah, Luca is very socially anxious.
Yes.
And he shakes from nervousness. And so he the whole time he's
poor little dog look, he's going to have a heart attack on stage.
That's what I was worried about before we opened. That's one of the reasons why we opened so late the other night.
I heard he pooped on you.
Yeah. Well, he didn't poop on me. He just he apparently, because I sent him up into the second floor hallway.
Yeah.
I sent him up there with Caden to just kind of get him away because we were testing the gunshot and stuff. And so I was just trying to get him away from the noise and stuff. So I think while he was up there, he just a little bit got out.
Expressed a little bit.
Well, no, not expressed. It was poop, but a little bit got out. And then so when he brought him back, of course he had his tail tucked tight between his legs.
Yeah.
So it was in there between his butt and his tail. And so of course, when I picked him up, I put my hand right there and I stuck my finger right in it. So that's what was actually on me.
Luca, back to the show.
I'm taking all that out, by the way.
So Luca was in the show.
We said all that, and he shook the whole time. So.
Yeah, but man, let me tell you, that little dog, when he sat there and they were talking about, you got to kill this dog, his little eyes were like...
He does, I know.
His little eyes were terrified, and it was like fear from just being up there around people.
But it looks like he's understanding what you're talking about.
Like when they said, we got to get rid of this dog, he stinks. Luca was, and mind you that we have not gotten Luca groomed in 2 months.
Yeah, because when his fur grows out, he really does look like he's a little homeless doggy or something.
So he looks rough right now. And so he was just his little head was going like that. And they're like, get rid of this stinky little mongrel. And his little eyes were just like, oh. But anyway, so
Michael was a proud uncle, or parent, as we say around
you made
here.
me move though. I get in there and you're like, where are you sitting? Like first row, I want to get a picture of the dog, the star of the show.
Yeah, and I see that on my phone, and I immediately sent a kid out to tell them. I was like, tell him to move, because I knew if Lucas saw him in the front row, he would try to go running to him and jump off the stage at him.
Y'all didn't even have him on the floor, though. Y'all held him the
And
whole time.
I know, but like he's done that before, like because when we were first blocking and stuff like that, he would try to jump off and come running at me sitting in the front row. But I knew if he saw you, not expecting you to be there and thinking, oh my God, Paran's here to save me, he would try to escape and run. And
I would have threw him back on stage like, you're on your own, dog.
To which he promptly would have turned around and jumped off again. But anyway.
Let's go back to Ham.
Yeah.
Let's get, Ham. No, we need to go back further because we're still in Sputnik 2.
Yeah. So that was Sputnik 2.
Only a dog.
But that's the interesting thing to me is that Sputnik 2 was only a month later.
Yeah.
That was something that I didn't realize.
And Sputnik 1 was only up there for 3 months.
Yeah.
And burned up. So we had Sputnik 1 and Sputnik 2 up there continuously for a little overlap.
Yeah. Well, and then, so that was the other thing that I discovered was that the Vostok rockets, that program actually had a 24-hour turnaround time. So they actually at one point had people in space capsules orbiting the Earth simultaneously because they launched one and then turned around the next day and launched the other. And they were, I forget what it was, but it said like in their orbits, they came like within like close enough, I think, to where they could see each other out the window, see the other capsule, which I think is really cool.
I mean, it's no different than a plane when you have two planes up in the air and you can see into the window.
Yeah, but
one.
when you're in
orbit
outer
at
space,
18,000 miles per hour,
it's a little different. So,
I guess.
And then the U.S., well, so the first man who goes into space, you know his name? A little early trivia question there.
No.
Yuri Gagarin. So Yuri Gagarin was the first man in space. The Soviets won that leg of the space race. And he goes up in April of 1961. But we were close. We were very close on their heels because that was April 12th. And then May 5th is when Alan Shepard went up, the first American in space.
Gotcha.
So we were, like I said, we were pretty close on their heels. So when we call it a space race, it really was a race because it was, just inches, apart and stuff like that. So it was, I can only imagine it would have been a really interesting time to, be sort of like an ordinary citizen spectating on all this, because it really would have felt like, you're cheering on your home team and fighting against the competition.
Yeah.
The Russians were also the first people to put a woman in space. Do you know who she was?
Nope.
Valentina Tereshkova, whose name I also know because of Designing Women. Yeah, it was referenced on, you remember the episode where Suzanne bought the second Trivial Pursuit game and memorized all the answers?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Oh, yeah. So she got tired of Julia acting superior to her. And so she memorized all the answers to the Trivial Pursuit game. And then, but she and Charlene were playing on the same team. And Mary Jo says, yeah, I knew you had to have cheated when you pulled out Valentina Tereshkova. And Charlene says, well, now, wait a minute, Mary Jo. I actually knew that on my own. And she says, oh, come on. A statue of Elvis on Mars, maybe, but Valentina Tereshkova. And I've remembered it ever since. Anyway.
I'm looking at Sputnik 3.
Oh, tell us about Sputnik 3, because I didn't look that one up.
Oh, that was the only Soviet satellite launched in 1958.
Oh, really?
It reached orbit during the International Geophysical Year.
Yeah. Do you know what that means?
I don't.
I kept seeing that in a lot of my research too, and I have no idea what that means.
Okay, so here it is right here. It refers to the Third International Polar Year, which is an international scientific project that lasted from July 1st, 1957 to 31st December 1958. It marked the end of a long period of the Cold War during scientific interchange between the East and West and had seriously been interrupted. 67 countries participated. I guess it's just a scientific a project that they put on the side. Like, a time period for them to actually exchange information for science, which I think is so weird because, like,
yeah.
I mean, everyone knows what you're going to use it for. So,
So, and then of course, so we put Alan Shepard up less than a month later, and then we send. Do you have a date on when John Glenn went up?
Well, no. So Yuri
Gagarin,
went up April 12th, and he was only up there for a single 108-minute orbit.
Yeah.
Mercury, I guess that's where we put.
Yeah, that was the Mercury project was.
Alan Shepard went up May 5th. He didn't achieve orbit.
No.
He was the first person to exercise manual control over his spacecraft.
Yeah.
Shepard was celebrated as a national hero, blah, 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 blah. Gus Grissom repeated Shepard's suborbital flight about a month and a half later, 2 months later, in July.
Mm-hmm.
And then Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth on February 20th of 62. And Gus Grissom, you know what happened to him?
With the capsule flooding?
The capsule flooding?
Yeah, he blew his...
when he landed?
Yeah.
No, what happened to him eventually?
No.
He got burned up.
Oh, yeah,
Apollo
on the
3.
on the launch pad.
Yeah, he was one of the 3.
Yeah. So you have this, like I said, literal race going on between the U.S. and the Soviets throughout the late 50s through the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And when Kennedy is in office, that's where it sort of ratchets up. I kind of think of it like Kennedy. I mean, I'm talking about the moonshot.
Mm-hmm.
Where he says in his speech that it is his intention to put a man on the moon before the end of the decade.
Right.
And essentially, what that did was a challenge to NASA to say, "Hey, make this happen for us."
Yeah, because before it was just a matter of putting us up into space and orbiting the Earth.
Yeah,
like that was it.
Yeah.
But I think when he did that, he gave them a target.
Yeah.
He gave them a purpose.
Yeah.
At that point. And I think what happened after that, it's kind of like where we're at now. Like, where is our target?
Well, and that's what I wanted to kind of talk about, because after that, like I said, it on one hand, it's kind of like, okay, we won the space race and then everybody went back home. But
we didn't, though. Think about how many Apollo missions there were. You only, you hear of.
Yeah. 17. Were there 17 total?
We had 5 going to the moon.
Yeah.
5 and then 6. No, yeah. Apollo 17 was the last one in December of 72. So, I mean, but now think about that, though, because when did Apollo first go up?
69.
Right. And so in the span of
3
years, we went to the moon 6 times.
Yeah.
That's a lot of impression there,
Yeah, that's a lot. That's quick.
And so,
well, I mean, think comparatively to the space shuttle launches, those would be only like once a year, it seemed like, or maybe 2 a year.
But that was only because of what happened in 86, because they were going for 2 to 4 or 3 to 4 a year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Challenger is what slowed the
because when you start looking at
down.
that, they were doing 3 to 4 a year before that.
Yeah.
Because I think it wasn't Discovery. Columbia had just come back, I believe, in September, October of that 85 year.
Oh, and then in January.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, it had just returned.
Okay. Because, when we think about the space race, or not the space race, but when we think about the space program now, especially after Apollo, what have we done?
We built
the space station, but I mean, that's like, just right up there, not far, at all. And understandably so, but still, we haven't done anything else. We've sent probes everywhere and things like that. But, that's why I think it's so exciting now to follow what NASA is doing with the new Artemis program and going back to the moon and then going on to Mars, because according to their timelines, we're going to be going to Mars in a matter of 8 years, I think.
Yeah, if we don't lose funding now at this point.
Well, exactly. And that's
really where it kind of comes from that. After the first accident with the space shuttle, and that's really kind of where we as a country have stopped. Our priorities are changing. And so instead of focusing on, and Kennedy, when he gave his speech and said, we're doing this for exploration because this is what man does, and the next evolution of exploration is space. We've conquered the oceans, we've conquered the land,
Mhm.
we've conquered the sky. The next thing is space. And that might have been that, but I don't know that is actually the real reason why. I mean, we all know there was a political
Yeah.
reason there. We've lost focus on that.
Yeah.
Like we really have. We focus instead of on the planet itself and what resources are here instead of exploring. We don't explore anymore.
Yeah.
Because we're too busy fighting with each other.
Yeah.
Instead of exploring.
But I think what's interesting now is like, especially with Artemis and things like that, I think that is not becoming popular. What's the word I'm looking for? It's revving up, for lack of a better term, because now there is so much more privatization of space travel, like you mentioned earlier, you know, with Blue Origin and SpaceX.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, SpaceX, at this point, again, losing focus.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Because what are they focusing on now?
Just taking people up and bringing them back.
Yep.
And, you know, just
taking celebrities up
10
and
minutes.
doing that and putting, you know, and honestly, and it's going to come back political because of Musk, because you know, he's now, instead of focusing on moving humanity forward with electric vehicles and space travel, now he's got his, I don't know what he's got his hands in, you know, like he's focusing on the United States government now instead of focusing on exploration and advancing us.
Yeah, I think it's now I just realized now SpaceX has done some things, like they've done missions to the space station and things like that. I think it's Blue Origin that's more about just, you know,
putting people up there and taking them back
up and coming back down.
Yeah, well, and there's a contract again with SpaceX to do that.
Yeah.
Because with NASA focusing all its energy and money, which is not a lot at this point in terms of what their budget used to be and should be, but they're not focused on, they don't have a system to make any kind of connection to the space station. They don't. When they retired the shuttle, there was nothing in its place.
Yeah.
But we retired the shuttles in 12. It's been 14 years, 13 years now.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me that Kennedy did in 10 years? When we really want to put our mind to it, we can. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, less than, what, 7 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's what's frustrating is it does. It all comes down to money and public interest. And that's the thing. I think the public has the interest there, but the government isn't willing to put the money up for it. It was more vital during the Cold War,
because there was a military aspect behind it.
Yeah, it was like I said from the beginning, it was an extension of the arms race. And without that element to it, there's less interest in funding it and ensuring its success. Now it's seen more as just a frivolity, really, and something that isn't, you know, they don't see the value in it.
Yeah. Because again, we're too busy fighting over what's on the planet.
Yeah. And I you know, I just think it's a real shame. And I'm really, like I said, I'm really glad and really excited about the Artemis program and what's the Orion. There we go. And the prospect of returning to the moon. You know, we have never seen man walk on the moon in our lifetimes. And I am so excited to see that happen again, or to see that happen for the first time for myself, you know. And of course, you know, back in '69, they were, you know, these grainy, you know, images, camera quality was low. You know, just imagine what it's going to look like now when they go up with, you know, 4K video camera, or excuse me, 12K video cameras and things like that, and HD TV and Ultra HD. You know, that's very exciting to me. And even beyond that, the prospect that after we go back to the moon and do some stuff there, we're going on to Mars. That's gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. So, you know, it's the sort of thing that I think is crucial because it inspires humankind.
Yeah, but you have two camps there. It's like when we were doing our, we just finished up a unit on ecosystems and supporting biodiversity and growth of biodiversity, and you have something called fragmentation, which is where a population is basically separated due to development, so urbanization. You know, so like let's say you have an area of land where there's a population of I'll use the one in class. We're looking at a town in south of or to the west of Phoenix in Arizona.
Okay.
And there's a population boom there in 1718. It's the largest, fastest growing city in these states in 2017, 2018.
Okay.
Buckeye, Arizona.
Okay.
And so, the city developers have to basically develop a plan. What's it going to look like in 40 years from now?
Yeah.
How are we going to develop our plan? And what are we going to do? We're going to urbanize it. And so, you look at the population growing, but there is a mountain lion population out there that, with the development of roads and interstate, because they're going to put an I-11 off of I-10 down there that'll connect Nevada to Arizona. And so, or Utah and Arizona, sorry. But there's a lot of things going on down there. And so when you put something in like an interstate that separates a population from one side to the other of the road, and yes, they can cross over, but they more likely than not won't, just because of the nature of a 6-lane interstate,
Right.
And so, when you do that, you segregate off the genetic aspect of everything. So if you had a population that was really healthy, we know that the more genetic diversity they have in a population, the better off they are to survive.
Yeah.
But when you do certain things like fragmentation like this, where it's separated out, you're basically going to separate the gene pool into two different bodies. And sometimes some genes, by nature of happenstance, just happen to be on one side of the road when they develop it, know? And so the gene gene pool becomes less diverse, diversity goes down, population then does the same thing. And so when you're looking at that, I don't know where I was going with this.
We were talking about.
Oh, okay. I money.
Okay.
Money. Sorry. But there's two camps. So there's wildlife crossings, which you can build, which are basically like overpasses and underpasses around the interstate. But the animals only use them if they're certainly developed certain ways. Mountain lions need like a half-mile wide overpass basically to use it. They will not go up anything smaller because they think it's a trap. It's very much like that. So they need to make it as natural as possible so they'll actually use it. Well, I had the kids they went home. They had 3 questions to ask parents. Yeah. Have you seen this before? Number 1. Number 2, do you think it's worth the money? Or you think it's important to do this kind of stuff for the animals? Yeah. And if so, what are some issues you may have with it? And then the one thing that they do say about that, though, is that it's the money. You have 2 camps. Yes, it's important. Biodiversity is important. We need to spend the money to really support that. Yeah. And the other one is no, our tax dollars are going to pay for this. And we have crumbling roads and bridges for humans to use that we need to spend the money on instead. Yeah. And so I think with the space race stuff like that, like what we're talking about like right now, there's 2 camps. Yeah. You have a camp of, yes, exploration is super important because we as humans, this is in our DNA. Yeah. It is to explore. It is to, even just trying to find out if there's been water on Mars or on the moon. That we spend how much money for something that's insignificant in discovery. I mean, really, in your life, is knowing that there's water on Mars really going to impact your life at all? No. Okay. So we do it. We spend the money because that's what we do. Or the other camp is we spend the money, the $23 billion that they're going to spend on trying to find if there's money on Mars.
There's money on Mars?
I mean, water on Mars. Boy, if there was, let's go.
Right.
But you spend the $23 billion that is allotted to that. Yeah. For other purposes like homelessness and stuff like that. And so there's 2 camps. Now, the problem I have with that, I'm obviously on the, yes, we need to do it because. Yeah. The counter argument I would say to the person who says, no, we need to spend it on something else is it doesn't go to something else. It ends up somewhere in red tape or somewhere in a politician's pocket or somewhere else like that. It doesn't go to prevent a problem. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to go to prevent homelessness. Yeah. Or it's not going to go to prevent climate change. Yeah. It's going to go to tax breaks for the wealthy. So yeah, I do think it's important that we do that. That's, I mean, that's you're in the same camp. I know you are, because you're
Yeah.
an explorer also. You believe that's super important too.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's
That sounded like a good final thought.
I was just thinking the same thing. Like, that's kind of where it is.
Yeah.
That's my thought on it. So,
well, and my final thoughts on the space race are that, when you look at it, like I said, it was inspiring, and it was something that everybody was attuned to and paid attention to. And I think that alone is enough to merit saying, we need to continue doing this, because think about it, look around our world right now. There is a lot look at the rates of depression. There is a lot to bring us down. We need something, if for nothing else, then just for morale. We need something that we can look to and say, look at that. Look at what we're doing. Look at what we've done. I think that space exploration is something that it's the next logical step.
it was in the 60s, though. And that's what Kennedy said.
Yeah.
And here we are 60 years later, no better.
Yeah.
And, it's because we've lost focus on that. And but the thing is it's not governments have lost focus on it.
Yeah.
Because the people think about when Musk launches that rocket, right? And they come back down and they land on the target. People are all like, wow, that.
Yeah.
But think about what happened last April with the eclipse.
Yeah.
What was that about? That was not oh, well, here's going to happen. People were migrating.
Yeah.
To be involved. There is a target. We want that. We can capture that emotion behind the actual exploration and back into space, but we just need someone in power to allow us to do that.
Yeah.
And until we get someone in power that allows us to do that and puts a focus on it, we're not going to.
And that's a good point to make too. It's not a matter of Democrats versus Republicans or anything like that either. It's just a matter of somebody who recognizes the benefit and recognizes the value in it.
Yep.
To say, yes, this is worth investing in. It is worth our money to explore these things and to find out these things. I mean, because, think back, way back in the history of exploration, if Columbus had not gone, going that far back, Columbus going to quote unquote discover the New World and the Vikings who had done it before him and things like that. We're always looking to the next horizon. Jefferson sent Lewis and Clark to explore the Louisiana Territory.
Here's the thing, though. I'm going to cut you off there really fast, because Columbus didn't do it for exploration purposes. He did it for a purpose. They were looking for...
Yeah.
And same thing with Jefferson. They were looking for a purpose.
Yeah, money.
Right.
And so that's the thing. I think it's not going to be until they discover, oh, there are diamonds all over Mars there for just picking up off the ground, that they're going to... No, you're right. You're right. But that's the thing. We don't know what all there might be on Mars.
We need to find a new planet because we're destroying this one. That's what we need to do.
But that's what I'm saying is, we need to
invest in it.
That's what I was going to say. We can explore for the sake of finding financial value in it, but we also need to do it for the affective value in it, for inspiring humankind.
I think that's a side effect of it.
Yeah.
Like a secondary.
It is. That's not the, granted, it's not the primary goal, but
it's the backwards thing of Star Trek. Their main goal is to explore.
Yeah.
And they end up always getting involved in something.
Yeah.
As a side effect of their exploration.
Yeah.
We need to do the opposite.
Yeah.
We need to go ahead and get involved in something and then explore as the backward,
Yeah, that's our logic behind it.
So anyway, not sure if anyone learned about the space race, but you got our opinions on it.
Yep.
And that's what we're here for.
Just to have a fun conversation on a fun topic.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, you ready for some trivia?
Yep. So we're going to do this Jeopardy book you bought.
Yeah. So I bought a book online or from Amazon. Speaking of Jeff Bezos, it is by Brain Games, and it's Jeopardy puzzles. So we're going to dive in here and.
Okay. U.S. presidents.
Okay.
All right. Before he was president, he lived the life of a cowboy on his North Dakota ranch.
Oh. North Dakota. Did he live there, or was that just where he
I don't know. It says
had a ranch?
He lived the life of a cowboy on his North Dakota ranch.
I don't know. Who is Teddy Roosevelt?
Yes.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yes. Okay. During his term, the voting age was lowered from 21 to 18.
Oh.
He needs to go back up to 21.
That wasn't, I don't know. Who's Kennedy?
Nope. Close.
Johnson?
Nope.
Eisenhower?
Nope.
Nixon?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I said close because him and Kennedy were very intertwined.
Yeah. As opponents.
Yep. Bill Clinton's middle name, it's also the last name of another president.
What is Jefferson?
Yes. In May 1846, 14 months after Polk took office, the U.S. declared war on what country? 1846.
What is Mexico?
Yep. We're about to do it again. The White House was burned by the British while he was president.
Oh, who is Monroe? No, Madison. Sorry,
I was
Madison.
gonna say it's Madison because remember his wife.
Dolly Madison. Yeah.
That's it. There's 5 of them.
Yeah. Okay.
You better find me a good one.
Okay. The category is East of the Mississippi. The Grand Ole Opry Museum and the Music Valley Wax Museum are attractions in this city.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes. In this Alabama city, you can visit the National Voting Rights Museum.
Did we say it earlier?
No, but if you think Alabama and voting rights.
Yeah, I'm thinking of where that all went down. I don't know.
What is Selma?
No. Yeah, the bridge.
A contest for blowing. That's an unfortunate pause. Shut up. A contest for blowing conchs is a highlight of old.
What is Southern Decadence? A contest for blowing conchs.
A contest for blowing conchs is a highlight of old island days in this Florida city.
What Key West?
What Key West?
What is Key West? I don't know. Is it?
Yes, it was. This city, named for a French king, was founded by George Rogers Clark in 1778.
St. Louis?
Ooh, close. What is Louisville?
Oh.
This fashionable resort in the Adirondacks is the summer home of the New York City Ballet.
Read that again. You lost me when you said Adderall.
This fashionable resort in the Adirondacks is the summer home of the New York City Ballet.
Would I know that?
No.
Okay, I don't know it.
What is Sarasota Springs?
What? Isn't Sarasota in Florida?
Sarasota is, but apparently Sarasota Springs is in
New York.
New York.
Oh, well. That about does it for our dumb brains tonight on Jeopardy Trivia.
Yep, and that also does it for this week's episode of From Art to Atoms,
The Ultimate Curiosity Show.
Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and we hope you'll join us again next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to From Art to Atoms, The Ultimate Curiosity Show, episode number 25. Your host are Brandon Shoemaker and myself, Michael Fols. The show is produced by Brandon Shoemaker and is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show to stay up to date on all of our latest episodes and news. If you have any questions, feedback, or suggested topics you'd like for us to dive into, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can email us at FromArtToAtoms@gmail.com. We would love to hear from our listeners, and we value your input. Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay updated on upcoming episodes and behind-the-scenes content. You can find us on YouTube and Instagram at From Art to Atoms. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us reach even more interested minds like yours. Thanks for tuning in, and stay curious, everyone.